Hey, today we're doing some work for a client where we're doing AI surfacing. So what we're doing is we are changing content on a particular web page so that it has content that answers questions for AI. So right now what we did is we worked up a TLDR, too long didn't read, and FAQs for this particular page. So they sell dairy software or dairy ERP, and they want to get surfaced when somebody searches an AI chat in ChatGPT or Perplexity for a certain dairy ERP for their business. So the page itself is lacking a lot of this information. So this is the actual page that's live. A lot of it is marketing speak, maximize your dairy profits. So it does have some information here, but it's missing a bunch of FAQs. It has no FAQs actually, and it doesn't have a TLDR, which gives the page clarity for the AI so they could say, okay, this is what you're actually about, and let me see if I can recommend you, at least from this point of view. So the other two parts of this are going to be, this is obviously what you could see on screen, but also the code should have schema markup or structured data. So I'll get into that in another video, but also externally you should have reviews on sites like G2, Wikipedia page, other authority sites that say, okay, a Connected Dairy ERP is this kind of software and it appeals to this kind of people, and these are the benefits, it's been vetted, it's been used, it's legit. So basically it's giving that social proof to the page. But right now we're focusing on just what can we do as far as most bang for the buck in updating this page and making it easier for AI to recommend in chat. So after a lot of study and work, the biggest benefit bang for your buck is going to be adding a TLDR and an FAQ to this page. So let's get into that. So basically we're going to be using the HubSpot CMS platform to change this page and to update it. So if we go into HubSpot, we're going to go into the page here, dairy. So let's take a look at the way that this page is in HubSpot. If we take a look at the contents, you can see that it's using a flexible column here. And then these are kind of like drag and drop features, page banner. So as you can see, when you hover over these modules, it kind of like highlights them. Same thing here. So let's add the FAQ. So there's an FAQ module that we've built into HubSpot to go with this particular theme. So we're going to look for FAQ. Let's try FAQ accordion module. Let's add that module. It's going to add it at the end. Right, so we've got it here. So taking a look at the styles, I think we want to probably remove the background color, or just make it white. Okay. And let's just save the changes here. Okay. And let's see. And then, yeah, maybe this module isn't the right one. Let's take another look. See if we can find a different module here. Let's look again for FAQ. Yeah, this one looks better. So let's go back into our contents, and you can see we could just delete this one. Let's delete that. And then we're going to go back into this new module. We're going to look at the styles. I'm going to change the background color. So really no background color. Okay, so let's see if we're going to have a heading here. Let's do FAQs. Okay, we got FAQs there. So let's go into each one of these. So the first FAQ, we're going to take from the document here. And we're going to paste it in to this module inside of HubSpot. Voila, we have the first one. So this module is an accordion module, so it's kind of, it shows the question, but then you have to click on that to show the answer. It's just kind of to conserve space on the page. So we just go through this process for each one of these FAQs. So now let's figure out where we can add the TLDR. Let's see if we add it in this top section, see what happens. I think probably we'll have to build a custom module that holds the TLDR better. But for now, let's try and see if we can fit it in there. Let's take a look. All right, let's grab it here. Let's see how this looks. So what happens a lot of times is when you paste stuff into HubSpot, the editor, it formats it. So let's just see if we could paste this in using the source code and not having the formatting in there that we're carrying over. So let's do that. Okay. Looks a little long, but you know, does the job. Like I said, we could probably create a module for this separately, or maybe put this in one of these blocks later on. But I think this does the trick. All right, so let's update this page. And then it takes a little bit of time to update because it has to propagate throughout the web. So in the meantime, let's just add another FAQ just to go over the process again. So we've got the FAQ here. Again, you go into this particular module. So this is a custom module. It was built specifically for this web page. Let us know if you would like something like this for your own website so that you could have your FAQs and thus be more visible to AI search. So let's add the second FAQ here. Let's add the answer. Let's fix this a little bit. Again, I'm going to go into the source code because I don't want to copy anything in there that doesn't belong as far as formatting, because sometimes when you copy and paste from other places, you take the formatting and then it just looks all weird. So let's apply the changes. And good, we've got our two FAQs here. A little bit of fixing the styling here, which we can do because this is a little long, but I think this works. So a note as to why it's important to do this, to have this text in there. The AI is actually going to be pulling data from different websites, especially if it's a question or a query that it doesn't have a lot of data on, that it's not in their graph, and then they need to pull that information from somewhere off the web. The way that it works is that it's a recommendation engine, really, is that when you go to the AI, it's going to recommend 2 or 3 solutions instead of being, if we actually do this and go seafood ERP, you got the sponsor results here for Enecta. Enecta is at the top of the SERP page, but then you have all these other links. So, and of course, you sometimes have AI overview, but it doesn't have AI overview for this particular search. What we're gearing this page to do is to make it easily findable and accessible through AI search. So when somebody's in, say, ChatGPT and they're looking for seafood ERP, they're only going to get 1 or 2 recommendations from the AI. It's not like they're going to spit out all this old Google stuff. They're just going to say, look, based on what you're telling me, either Enecta or another company is going to be the one for you. So you want to be in those top 2 or 3. In order to do that, your page has to be ready for that. As I said, you having schema markup, which is in the code, having the correct information on the page that's readable to humans. So you're going to make it readable to humans. You're going to make it readable to bots. And then you also have to have the trust sites linking back to you. So if we go back in here, refresh the page, you could see that we've got the TLDR, right, which accurately describes what Enecta Dairy ERP is all about. And then we have our FAQs here at the bottom, which I think I need to go in here and update this. So yeah, I think with just having this and the schema markup, this page, as far as content-wise, is just going so much further in regards to using or being usable by AI bots. So I hope that was helpful. Thanks.